see. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Hi, MLX. Let's see here. Hello, Schmo. Schmau. Yeah, it's working. Excuse me. Hi, Sporty Coat. Hi, Broccoli. I'm just drinking LaCroix. Hi, Passig. Oh, where was I going with this? Probably discipline. Geo for you. Sheepish pilot. I wouldn't say this is regularly. It's just twice in 2 days. It's limoncello. Where's my ding dang powers? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just do this and open this this way because it'll be way better. Or will it? Or it'll be frustrating. They do have a limoncello. Hi, Sunnyside. Hi, Dadalac. Um, so I'm gonna have to reposition this window because this is not working well. So what I'm doing, unfortunately at work, or sorry, at home, I only have a 2-monitor setup, so I can't get really crazy. But I'm implementing powers for the Pillars of Eternity tabletop game in Foundry, which is the virtual tabletop that I and my group are using to play with. So when we, hey Anchix, when we started Buenas noches. When we started this, we just used, I think it's called like simple or default or open world or something, and it was it's just it's basically like no rules. It's Aiga. It's only 5:45 where you are. What's going on? Am I playing with other people? I mean, not right now. I'm just doing this to kind of show people how the tools work and everything. I woke you up? Well, I didn't mean to do that. So this is kind of just to show people, one, if people are not familiar with virtual tabletops. Two, if people are not familiar with Foundry, they might be familiar with Fantasy Grounds or Roll20. I really, really think that Foundry is very, very good. And then three, the pillar is tabletop rules, which I've been iterating on for a while. Too long, not very fast, but I've been running. I've now run technically 3 campaigns. I had 2 campaigns that were not very long lived, and then this third one has been going on quite a bit longer, and it's more robust because the rules are a little more robust, and because we're playing on virtual tabletop, Um, anyway, I'll do a little bit more. So the thing is, you can use Foundry with just kind of the basic rules, which kind of default. Like D&D is very friendly to run in it. There's a lot of other systems. Um, Now the thing is, Foundry is really great for developers. Obviously, you have to be an engineer of some sort, but you can code systems and implement them and then use those. It's not. It can get pretty sophisticated. I feel like as a designer working with our engineer Russell Thurman, who's very good. He's done a lot of really cool stuff for a number of game systems. Um, I'm trying to strike a balance where not everything is automated, because I have found that in Foundry, the systems that are extremely automated are, I think, opaque is kind of the right way to say. Like, it's very easy to not understand what's happening mechanically. And usually my design ethos is, generally speaking, I don't want to kind of wrap a big bubble around the mechanics so that people don't understand them. Because at that point, it's kind of like, why do the mechanics exist? So what I'm trying to do is make it so that everything is very easy to calculate, everything is very easy to see, but there's not a lot of automatic um, stuff. It's you do have to understand the circumstances your characters are in. For example, you do have to understand range increments on weapons so that you can look at the map and say, oh, okay, so I'm at 2 range increments, so I should have 2 penalty dice, etc., etc. It seems like chat is. Hold on just a second. I'm going to refreshing chat here. Or maybe no one has any questions or anything, which is fine. um, but yeah, I'm just trying to implement powers within the new framework that we have. So, are people really not? Nobody's talking? It seems weird. It seems like the chat just stopped. Everyone simultaneously get bored and leave. What's going on? I'm confused. You're listening. Okay, cool. Test. All right. Hello. Just making sure. I was like, did everyone just get bored and be like, okay, bye? So, anyway, I'll stop talking. But basically, yeah, it's a virtual tabletop environment, and Russell implements backend stuff, and then I and the players have to implement the stuff actually in the world, or on the server. But it's a rule set, and the rule set can be used on any server. And when it's ready, it's not quite ready yet. But anyway, I did want to show this stuff just so you could get an idea of it, because I think virtual tabletop, a lot of people either haven't heard of virtual tabletops or really don't know them or have limited experience with them. I've had some really great gaming experiences in virtual tabletops. I played in I guess 2.5, a total of like 3.5 year Ars Magica campaign. Never would have been able to play. I don't think I would ever been able to play Ars Magica if I had not found a group of people online. Um, and D&D with my high school gaming group. Like, these are people I've been playing with for 35 years. Some of them I've been playing with since I was a teenager. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to try to jump in. Hi, Rhythm Thief. Am I going to implement systems for quickly throwing together improvised powers? Yeah. Right now, well, 2 things. One, right now, you can build powers within this, which is cool, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. And improvising them is not going to be that much different because you're essentially building a power as though you'd be building it permanently, but then the math is a little bit different because it costs endurance and it's harder. It's just harder to do if you want to do something spontaneously, which is a concept I'll just say freely is borrowed from Ars Magica. Twice as much and endurance. Would I recommend Foundry for people just starting out with tabletop? I mean, as a player, sure. As a DM, I don't know. It depends on what you want to play. I know Fantasy Grounds. I don't know. I shouldn't say I know. I'm pretty confident that Fantasy Grounds has a robust D&D implementation. So if you're a DM, I think there's probably easier stuff because Foundry, I'm not going to say it's hard, but it's just not. It's still, I think it's still technically in beta or maybe alpha. It's not like full release, no problems. I will say that the Forge is a site that makes setting. I use the Forge because I'm kind of lazy and I don't want to screw around with server shit. That's why I'm having an engineer implement most of the stuff because I don't like, I'm a designer, I'm not an engineer, and I don't do server shit anymore. So anyway, let me show you some of this stuff. So there are powers. All this stuff is stuff that I author using the templates and rules and things that Russell has implemented into the system. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to do, and I'm probably going to run into stuff because I haven't used this a bunch. I'm probably going to run into stuff that just I can't implement. Or I'm going to be ad hocing it. So let's see, cunning. Oh no, what is going on here? Okay, discipline. Let me get to discipline. Nice, Dadalac. So let me just, okay, so I'm going to make a new folder for powers. And this is just organizational. It doesn't have any mechanical relationship to anything. So it sorts automatically, but I can sort manually if I want to. I believe I can just do this. Can I just do those? No? Oh, probably all of them are set that way. So, going to discipline. You're still curious about the wiener dog? So, this is on a server, and the server has a URL, and I'm in full screen mode, and the URL should be hidden, but I know that there are ways and times in which the URL bar will pop down, maybe accidentally. So I put that wiener dog up there for the secret zone, because even those are password and servers, I know that people are. When I was in Moscow, I had a driver, and my driver said, people here are good, but not that good. I'm like, all right, I'll remember that literally forever. Super small secret map zone? No, it's just the secret of the URL zone. Anywho, so now I'm going to make a power. Wait, did I make a power? Whoops, whoops. Okay, that's open. That's open. So I'm going to make recovery, which is the foundational power. So I'm saying this is recovery, type power, folder discipline. So when you make an item in the item folder, these are things you drag onto characters. I think what he meant was people are good, but opportunities can make people not good. I think that's the meaning I took away from it, is that people are pretty good, but if they have an opportunity to either profit or maybe do something mischievous, they might. So also, yeah, if you have 80 people in the stream, maybe one of them's just a piece of shit. Who knows? Not you, not the person listening to this and watching this. Do I speak Russian now? No. This guy spoke a little bit of English. Okay, here we go. So, recovery. Um, so this is basically constant recovery, more or less, but it's not constant. It's a thing that you actually have to trigger. What? Oh no. No, no, no. Okay. Now you can see it. I was gonna say it's all within the same window. Okay, cool. Okay, just making sure. So here you see this window, and by the way, this is all hot out of the oven. So there's a bunch of stuff on here that's either incomplete, but you'll get the idea. So this is the default thing that comes up for power. So power level is derived. Hi, key to the bus, thank you. Power level is derived. Zombie, I'll get to that in just a second. So power source, I'm going to say is discipline. There's a fixed list of power sources right now. There will eventually, in my dreams, be rules for making power sources that are not the ones in the list. But for now, it's just a drop down with populated by these. I think these are just enumerated somewhere anyway, so you can kind of do whatever. So base effects, if I'm looking at recovery, and I'm not going to bring up the other window for this, but the base effects are restore 46 health and restore 46 endurance. So that's not something that you like pick or select from. That's something that you just enter. The reason for this is it gets, I'm not going to say esoteric, but it gets messy. So like you look this stuff up, you figure out what applies, you figure out the point value for it, and then you do some math for like special deductions and a bunch of other stuff. This is the only stuff that's kind of like, I'm not going to say hand wavy, but it's not automated because it's messy. And I just said that's not it. If everything else is automated but this, it's totally fine. So when I'm looking at the base effects and what they cost, the total of these two base effects is 3. 3 what? Just 3. That's all it means, is just 3. It's just adding a bunch of stuff up to a total, and when you get the total, then it determines what the power level is. Again, this is not dissimilar from Ars Magica and a bunch of other games, but there you go. So the range on this is none. Easy, because it's on yourself. The target is self. Notice that the abstract here, which is basically not the actual power level, is just 3, because that's the only thing adding points to this. Duration is momentary. Again, doesn't add anything because it just goes off. Speed is immediate. Boom! Now you saw that that went up to 8. So the abstract went up to 8, and the power level went up to 1. Immediate is, it's like a fast action, or what have you, free action, fast action, swift. Exclusion is none. So exclusion means, can the user exclude certain people from the effects of this? It's a self-affecting buff, so there's no reason, so none. And limitations you just type in. So abstract is 8, that correlates to a power level of 1. There is a table for this stuff. You don't need to know it unless you're inventing new powers. In which case, you can still come in here and just do this. Servus, you're also up early. It's 6 a.m. Well, right? Are you in Romania? Seems early. Right. Zombie 2. Seeing one of those Arcana, does Minoletta have non-magic missile spells? I hope to God that the answer is no, or alternatively she has created magic missile spells that cook for her. So, does she have them? Certainly. Has she invented them? Probably. Oh, you're in Berlin. Okay. Um, so generally speaking, the wizards who are part of the Circle of Archmagy are known for inventing specific categories of things. And once they've kind of done that, the idea is, and I haven't mechanized this, but the idea is once they've made a breakthrough in one area, it's easier for them to make breakthroughs that are similar in nature, so they can kind of branch out from that initial discovery. So for example, if Minoletta's minor missiles, maybe, was the first thing that Minoletta invented, then it is easier for her to then make breakthroughs with other spells that are similar in vibe, which is kind of the idea there. Um, and then the idea with any of these things that have a name is that I said this before. So with all these things, you total it up and it derives a power. Archmagic, these are spells that pre-exist. So Minoletta's Minor Missiles, Console Hots, Crushing Doom. I can't think of literally anybody else. Archimere's Wondrous Torment. Any of those. When I build them, I make them 2 points more expensive than normal, so they should be a level higher, and then they get 2 points off because they're Archmagic. And all that Archmagic means is that an Archmage, meaning a wizard invented it, and they made a breakthrough, and that breakthrough defies the laws of Arcana. And what it means for them is that they're cool and they can show it off to their buds, and their buds will go like, "Oh my fucking god, you're right." That wizard who made the breakthrough can cast it without a grimoire. Anyone else can cast it with a grimoire, but they can't cast it without because it's too crazy. So like any of the Minoletta spells, any of the Archimere spells, any of those spells, you can't just spontaneously cast them at the listed level. If you want to cast them at the listed level, you need to put them in a grimoire because they're just too crazy. But if you have a grimoire, you can basically put all named spells in there if you want. You don't have to. It's just you can spontaneously cast stuff without a grimoire, or you can use a grimoire to cast Arcana plus other stuff. But that's how it works. So Archmagic always slightly exceeds the bounds of what's legally allowed by the rules. Anyway, that's the idea. So this one's easy. Look at this, so easy. Now, one thing I'm going to do here, because this is the easiest ability in the universe. It's just I typed this in. I set that the power level was, or the base effect was 3. Speed is immediate. Gave me power level 1. That's what you'd expect because it's the basic fighter ability. But for the description, what I'm going to do here is heals roll 46 recovery health and so you can put inline code here, recovery endurance. I think there's actually a way to combine these. I'm not going to do it right now. Great. Awesome. On the user. These are not colorful descriptions. Where am I typing? A keyboard? So you can see now, hopefully. Can you see? What? Whoa. Hold on. It says, for you, it says the Windows on the Details tab, but for me, it's on the Description tab. Very... What? What is going on? Hold on. Why would it not be showing that? No. I mean, I think this might be a streaming or a Chrome thing. That is really weird. Hold on here. I don't really want to refresh the page. That sort of fixes it. Okay. It's very weird though. Okay, but yeah, that's weird. I think it's a streaming issue. So if you just click the description, or if you click the thing, then it says, hey, recovery health 46. You can click on this. It'll show you what each of your individual die rolls were. Recovery endurance 46. 10. Actually, I wonder. Let me try something. Let's try this. Loud dice. Sorry. I don't think that works. I know there's a way to. Hmm. Just a second. Adding additional dice. No, I think I need separate. Yeah, I think I need separate things. And nibbling. All right, screwed that up. Whoops. There probably is a way that I'm not going to look it up right now. So there you go. So heals 46 health and 46 endurance on the user. Great, awesome. I can assign an icon. I'm not gonna. Let me do something else. Let me do like Fireball. Let me do a classic. Let me do a classic for you. One of the classics. We have Discipline. We have Arcana. I'm going to add Fireball. And I'm going to make that a power in Arcana. Fireball Whiskey. I went to the liquor store the other day and they had a big old Fireball Whiskey. It's dangerous. I could sit and sip that all night. It's a little too much. I don't need to be sipping whiskey all night. All right, so I'm going to go your classic Fireball. It gets a little more complicated. Slightly. Fireball Whiskey. Yeah, it's not like I don't think I would make cocktails with Fireball Whiskey, but like just a little shot glass, sipping a shot glass. So the power source here is Arcana. So this should go pretty quickly. So Fireball, let's see. 44 burn versus reflex. Great. Okay. Speed is action. Yeah, I changed that to speed action, so that's different now. This is the new stat block. Whoa, that's formatted poorly. Sorry. Um, range is okay. Actually, yeah. So Inflict 44 burn versus reflex. That's a base effect is 4. The range is mid. Target is a circle. It's a large circle. Now you can see that the abstract keeps going up here. So if I say it's a small circle, it goes to 9. Medium circle is 10. Large circle is 11. Why are they small, medium, large instead of numerical values? Because I'm changing those numerical values, and rather than just have art like yeah, just however many squares you want. I want to have like fixed sizes. Yeah, I added medium circle back in. I added a bunch of mediums in because I realized there were not edge cases. There were a lot of cases where I was like, this feels like it should be bigger, and I don't want to add damage, and there's more room to spare in the point total. So large circle, duration is momentary because it just goes off. Speed is action. So now it goes up to 12.5. Exclusion is none, meaning anyone caught in it gets affected by it. If I wanted to make a friendly fireball, I'd make it selective, and now it's a 4th level spell. You can also do single. I'm going to go with none. So I made all that, and the power level is 3. Hey, it's a fireball. It's kind of what you'd expect. But here's the new thing. So we have this damage. Is there a way to get the computer game's extra inselective AoE? That's real fiddly because I'm using hexes. Like it works to the extent that it works in pillars. It's because we're just dealing with real space. We're just dealing with real space. So we can have the area like it can do a real true area calculation. It can just put that little thin thing on there and you can like fiddle around with it. Yeah, but this is something like I want this to be able to be played in tabletop. Virtual should make some things a bit easier, like auto calculating this stuff. That's great. But not necessary. So I don't want to get into the situation where players are like, well, I gotta. By the way, if you're building powers, unless you're spontaneously doing it, which is not super common, this is not something you need to do in the middle of a session. This is something that I, Josh, am doing because I'm inputting all this stuff. Anyway, great. So now I need to add damage. So fireball. And the base damage here is 4d4. The crit is 1d8. The crit die is pretty much always the smallest die that is maxes out at half the max damage. So fireball, 44, max is 16, so the crit die is 1d8. Cool. This is burn, and it's against reflex. It says reflexes, minor bug, doesn't matter. But now that's on there. So fireball exists. Now what I can do is I can open, maybe, I can open the party wizard, even though I don't think she could cast this right now. I don't think it matters. So fireball without an icon. By the way, I'm just going to watch the window to make sure that you can actually see what I'm seeing. Okay, good. Cool. So here you see fireball. Now, if I want to roll an attack with fireball, level 3, click on it. So the modifier is 6. That's because Rue has is 2nd level in Arcana, which gives her +6 to attack. It's derived. There's a table. 2nd level in Arcana is +6 to attack with it. No bonus or penalty steps, doesn't matter. This is basically how checks and attacks are rolled. So she gets +6 from her power level. No bonus or penalty dice. Not a proxy. You you can't use a proxy for power source, so it probably shouldn't be in here. You can get assistance from other party members, but this is not one that qualifies. It's not advantage or disadvantage. This is just normal. So if I roll it, see the fireball attack, 2d10 exploding, 3 and 9, 12 plus 6, 18. Now I can also, oh no, not enough power. That's right, because it automatically deducted that. So I'm going to replenish her power store, and I'm going to do it again, but this time I'll do it advantaged. And what advantage does, because everything is, I shouldn't say everything, skills and attacks are 2d10. If the enemy has 14 reflex, that's 1d8 damage. So I'm going to roll this advantage. Now the way this works, watch the dice. Ooh, that's really not good. So, but it worked out okay. So if you roll it with advantage, it's kind of like 5th edition where you get a d20, but it's a d20 in addition to the 2d10, which means that you're dealing with an unweighted distribution of that d20. So potentially a much bigger impact, because with the 2d10, you have a pretty constant pyramid of distribution. So I rolled 2d10, I got a 4 and a 1, 5. Very bad. But I also got a 13 on the d20, and that's better than the 5, so I take the 13, I add the 6, and I get a 19. Now I'm going to restore, and I'm going to roll again. Do disadvantaged. Does my t-shirt say, yeah, dude? It does. I can't actually see what you're seeing right now, because I have a delay. But I'll assume you can see it. It's a good podcast. So I'm going to roll it disadvantaged. It's basically the same thing, but just in reverse. So in this case, 13, 16. I take the worse because I have disadvantage. So I get the 13, add 6, and it's 19. It's still a good roll. Reset that. And now if I want to roll damage, then basically I just click the damage button. Now, these are the default values. These are the ones that are built in. If you need to change them, and there are cases where damage values change based on whatever, you can just do it right here if you want, but you don't have to. There might be a case, for example, where you get a crit against some people but not others. So you might want to roll 2 different damage values, or like Twin Stones has 2 instances of damage that are just completely separate. You can actually build those in, which is nice. So Fireball Burn, 44. Let's say I got an attack roll that was 16 higher than the target reflexes. So 16, 5, 5, 5. That's 3 crits. For every 5 points over the target, you get a crit. And a crit, if it's a damage-based attack, is an extra crit die, which is about half the damage range of the max damage. And if it's an affliction, then it will bump up you can either bump the affliction up and make it a worse affliction, if there is a worse affliction, or you can make it unshakable, which means that if you try to use the shake affliction action, you have to roll a higher number to get rid of it. That's it. So, but here I have 44 plus 3d8. There you go. You can open this up. 1, 3, 1, 3, and 4, 8, 2. So 8 base damage and 14 crit damage. Pretty good. Does it work for buffs? No, because buffs aren't, you don't roll buffs. You don't roll to attack with buffs, like pillars, like you just put a buff on somebody. That's how that works. Let me see if I can get a crit in here. So there's also like the skill sheet. So anything in here that is all of the benefits and hindrances. Oh, let me talk about wounds. It wouldn't have dealt 22 wounds. Let me see if I can not screw her character up. Is there another character I can screw up? Let me see. This is a villain. Let me remove this. Goodbye. Oops. So wounds, basically what this says is if you take this much or this much damage, you get a light or a heavy wound. A little goofy. I'm still working through the wound mechanics. That's still one of the clumsier aspects of the system. So the idea is you get hit for 20 damage. So yeah, like, great. Roll 8d8. Burn, baby. What was that? Oh, +3. Why did it do that? Why did it do fireball damage? Why did it roll fireball damage again? So that was 36 damage. So she has a... Does she have a soak? Oh, it's on her combat tab. So where's her soak? Is this not equipped? Oh, I bet it's not equipped. It is equipped. Wait a minute. Could be a bug here. Huh. For some reason, her soak is not updating. Do other characters' soaks working? Yeah. Curious. So his soak is fine. Her soak is not fine. So anyway, if we're like, okay, so 36 damage. If I got hit with 2 attacks each for 23, would it still be 2 light wounds? Yes. So she has an 8 soak. She was hit for 36 damage. That's 28, right? So 28 actual damage means she has a heavy wound. So when I bump that heavy wound, it lowers her max health. I can heal damage, but I can't heal it above this until I get that wound gone. Now, if I keep going with this, now she's not quite bloodied, but I bet this will bloody her. Now I believe she's bloodied. Let me just double check. Oh, she's not. She's not bloodied. Where'd the bloodied go? I think we might have disabled bloodied. But bloodied 4.5? I don't think this is calculating correctly. But basically she starts getting a bunch of penalties when she's bloodied. I can remove those wounds. Typically removing wounds is you can't do it like in the battlefield. You have to do it through rest. I think there's some goofy stuff going on right now with health and endurance still. Because I think these both should be 39. It depends on the type of wound. It takes time. So if they're light wounds, they can take like a week and just be gone. It's not a big deal. If it's a heavy wound, then it can take a month. If it's a severe wound, it could kill you. And it could take multiple months. It could take a whole season to recover. A severe wound is basically taking your entire total health in a single hit, which is like, you don't necessarily die, but you're extremely screwed up. Which reminds me, I don't see death in here, unfortunately. Yeah, and wounds are a good reason to read books. So reading books in off seasons is a way to gain XP easily. You just have to find the books and be able to read that language, and then you're fine. I'm glad I did it on this character who's an NPC. I don't care. She gets screwed up. Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky, TB right. So you take damage. You did actually take the damage. The wound is a side effect. It's basically saying you got hit so hard that in addition to the damage you lost, your max health is also reduced. So you lose the health, and then you get a wound, which is not equal to the amount you lost. It's a different fractional value. And this is one of the things that's a little like, whoa, there's a lot of numbers floating around here. So still iterating on the wound system, but the idea is, yeah, you get smacked hard, you get that wound, you have to deal with it. In practice, when it's happened, it makes characters kind of reprioritize, and they're a little more careful about getting super smacked around. The reason for this is it's pretty easy to get your power points back. Like if you short rest, you just get your power points back, and you get all your health and endurance back. Pretty easy, great. So wounds, oh, it's because light wounds are still there. Hey, there we go. Oh, now she's good. What? Why is it rolling fireball damage again? But that's the idea, is if you get smacked pretty hard, then yeah, you can heal back up, but that wound is still there, inhibiting you a little bit. So that's how that stuff goes. XP and rank, so you put XP and stuff, it automatically derives the rank. When you want to roll it, you just click on the thing. And let me explain steps. This is something I'm messing around with to make min-maxing valuable, but not like the end of the world. So when you get a bonus to something or a penalty to something, typically it's not a flat value. Typically it's called a step. And they just go back and forth, and it goes up to +5 or -5 steps. Negative steps take away from positive steps counteract negative steps. And steps correlate to a die that gets added to your 2d10 when you roll it. And that bonus die, or penalty die, is a d4, a d6, a d8, or d12. It's all dice that are not normally rolled for the skill check, even with advantage or disadvantage. So if I had +3 bonuses to my check, I can add 3. I say I have 3 steps, 3 bonus steps, and that translates to a 1d8, and I roll it. Hooray! So I got my 2d10 exploding. 1, 8, 9, 4, 21. Great. If I have 2 penalty dice, it's -1d6. Or 2 penalty steps, sorry. Mercedes EQS. I don't like a lot of the new Mercedes, to be honest. So in this case, it was 15 -6 +8, 17. Is this replacing stat plus skill plus 2d10 rolls? Yeah, there aren't really stats anymore. By the way, if you haven't noticed, there aren't stats. You have benefits and hindrances, and those give you bonuses and penalties. And then you have your defenses. And the way that this stuff works is you pick for your character how many defenses you want to be better than normal, and which ones. And if you pick 1, you get +4. If you pick 2, you get +3. 3, you get +2. And 4, you get +4 to all of them. So if I click Fortitude here, well, that's not right. Oh, you know what? I think this is screwed up from before. Let's see here. So that added +4. That now added +3. Now that's +2. Now that's +1. But I think before she just had defense and will. So rather than do like the whole kind of thing with classes and stuff, I was like, look, these 4 defenses work pretty well. What do you want to be good at? What do you want to be really good at defending against, or pretty good at defending against? If you want to just have better defenses across the board, then great, you get +1 to all of them. If you want a couple of them, you get +3. If you want just one that's really strong, you get +1. Now the other thing is that as a character advances, there are tiers. So tiers are really broad. It's like tiers in fourth edition. Does anything like that exist in 5th? I say after playing in a 5th edition game for like a year. But but you have novice, apprentice, master, expert, paragon, and those translate to bonuses to endurance and health and all defenses. So yeah, if I go up to paragon, then like, whoa, holy crap, I'm pretty tough. So you do get these like flat just bonuses, and it makes a pretty significant difference so far. At least when I've run characters tiered up, uh, like sorry, apprentices against novice or a master against novices will basically kick their ass most of the time, just because the numerical difference is like pretty significant. But the idea is that it's kind of arbitrary. So the GM will decide, hey, around this point in time, you guys are all apprentice now. You guys are all master now. You guys are all experts now. You made it. So in addition to all the other progression mechanics, you have these tiers, and these are just like big steps, fairly significant steps to just boost the characters up so that stat-wise, they just vertically are much stronger. Do I have descriptions under any of these? I don't know. Actually, that's another thing I can do. So reserves of power. Let me just let me. Benefits and hindrances. Was it reserves of power? Let's see here. So reserves of power. By the way, these are decoupled, so I need to edit this at the. How many tiers are there? There are 5. Novice, apprentice, master, expert, paragon. So you through a long campaign, like D&D or 4th edition had 3, right? Did 4th edition have 3 or did it have 4? Um, so anyway, once something is on the character sheet, it's decoupled from what's in the actual list, which is nice because you can modify it, but there's no connection between them. So if I want to change something universally, I have to change it here. So I'm going to open up reserves of power, and I am going to put in the description. Oops, that's weird. Highlighting is okay. There we go. Why are you doing that? What? What? Hold on. Get out of here. What is happening? Hold on. Digfinger, you liking Deadfire? Glad to hear it. Are benefits hindrances going to be uncoupled from your species, or are only very special ones going to be locked in? For the most part, if there's like a really like the godlike ones, there are ones that godlikes just get based on what kind of godlike they are. Um, so your soul is overflowing with energy. You have +1 power point and 1 power source. This increases to +2 at 10 ranks and +3 at 15. Great. Oops. Oh, whoops. So actually, let me see. I think I might actually have to new effect. And what is the effect going to be? What? Hold on. I think I can actually affect. Oh, do I have to like type it in? I can't remember. All right, for now I'll just leave this alone. I don't know a whole lot about effects. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, someone commented on it. The Odie man. You've been after 2 months of biking, you haven't had a single chest pain? That's great. That's great to hear. I'm very glad. Oh, so sorry for the so yeah, reserves of power. So I'm gonna nuke this, and then I'm gonna put reserves of power back on her. And now if I hit this, oh, there we go. The drop down is kind of laggy. I don't know why. Oh, why is that? This is doing the drop down behavior. Weird. Anyway, so yeah, when you click on it, you get the description. So if you're like, oh, what is that again? We're like Farcast. So you can project your essence to greater distances. All powers with non-weapon ranges of close or further have their range increased by 2 hexes. Great. So I'm going to open up Farcast. And oops. Oops. That's not what I want. Great. Now Farcast is updated. Get rid of that. Drag it on there. Awesome. So now you can see that you can build effects in to modify stats. Again, I haven't done that. I don't know the syntax for any of that stuff. Russell can tell me. It hasn't been a priority. I just wanted to get this stuff working. So that's how that works. Feign light. So people have asked about being a watcher, and watchers are supposed to be pretty rare. So it's not that I'm not going to mechanize it, but rather than make watchers like super common, like Jedi time. Oh, there's a description for this. So here we go, feign light. So one or more fragments of your soul gleam in the in-between. While the light you emits is not as bright as that of a watcher, it is bright enough to attract the attention of lost souls, and you are able to sense their general presence through sight. However, you cannot communicate with them, nor can they communicate with you. So you can't like speak back and forth. You can just see them. They can see you vaguely. So it's kind of like being a watcher, but like way more chill. And it is useful. There's a person in our party who has feign light, and they've used it in the campaign a few times. It's been useful. Not as useful as being a watcher, but also not as fucking crazy. Actually, let me see if I can get. This is something I'm going to try to see if I can get to work. So let's take a look at some of these characters. Rank. So what I'm going to try to do is find a character who can assist another character. Off-brand watcher, yeah. Let's see. How about Nola? Nola has... Well, she's a difficult collaborator too, so maybe I should try somebody else. Rugo? What do you got, Rugo? Rugo and Eldrin. So what's something... So he has 5 ranks in tactics. Does he have something else that he could... What about oratory? He doesn't have oratory. I need to organize these better. What's something that they actually both have? Oh, he does have charm. Okay, let's see here. And he has plenty of charm. So I'm going to roll charm. All right, it works, everybody. It actually works. It actually works. So this is one of my favorite things, both in the tabletop game and in this version. Although the feature here probably isn't going to be as impressive because players have not set up all their dice parameters. So check this shit out. Okay, so this is very cool. So assisting, it's kind of the same thing as bonus dice or bonus steps. So you can get a separate bonus or bonus die from someone assisting you. They have to have at least 5 ranks in the skill that they're assisting in, and then for every 5 points, the die increases up to a total of a D8. So it goes D4, D6, D8, which is the max that you can assist with, in addition to any other bonus steps that you have. You can't assist in combat, only outside of combat, but it's still very useful. So in this example, Rugo, who has an okay charm, he has 4 XP in charm, which gives him a rank of 2. So he's like, well, that's not very good, but I'm the guy talking. But I have Eldrin here with me, and Eldrin is very charming. Eldrin is a paladin of St. Elja, and he's very good at charm. Oh, actually, there's one other thing here, which is he has Intense, which is not in here listed, but Intense gives you 2 bonus steps to charm, intimidate, intrigue, insight, and negotiate when you're adjacent to somebody. So he's like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to be intense. So I'm going to get my 2 bonus steps because I'm right next to this guy. And I'm going to get assistance, a D4 of assistance from Eldrin. And it's looking at his character and seeing that he has a 6 in charm. See you, Dadalac. So what this is going to be is going to be 2, which is his base, plus a 1d6 plus a 1d4. Now look at all those dice rolling. Now, the thing is, the virtual tabletop will actually use the settings for the dice of the person assisting for their assist die. Let me see if I can actually set it up for Eldrin. No, I can only do it for myself. Yeah. So for example, if Eldrin set his dice to be like black and red or something like that, when you get an assist from Eldrin, the D4 that rolls is his D4. It'll actually have his coloration. To me, that's super cool. Like, I think it's the coolest thing. The reason why I like it so much, and this is from Burning Wheel, this is one of the things I like about Burning Wheel, is this, the idea of physically handing the dice to another player, and when you roll it, the die that they added, you actually see that die separately, which is why it's not another D10, and why it does use your coloration. So it's like a really minor thing, but we got it. If anyone had set up their dice, it would be more impressive. Actually, let me try. Maybe if I set my dice to a different thing, then the other players will contrast. My dice settings. Okay. So I'm going to set mine to I just want the marble. No, not marble. Fire? Is this different? What is going on here? No, I'm gonna. Bye, Warrior. Thanks for dropping by. Let's see. All right. Let's try fire. Okay, I'll do this. Let's see if this. Let me test roll this. It's a bunch of stuff. That's good. All right, I'm saving that. Now let's see how this works. It may still use these characters' things, so I don't know. Where is charm? Let me try this. Okay, I got my 2 steps, and I got assistance from Eldrin. No, it just used mine. So I think it's using mine as the default for everybody. Oh well. But it works. I've seen it work. That's very cool. What else? I think that's most of it. Like I said, it's still in development. Oh, I'm sorry. A Lamau Yeet. How powerful are assisting and steps as game mechanics? Can a min-max or break the balance with them? Can a casual largely ignore them? Well, so this is my desire, is that the assist die, or the bonus step maxes out at D12, and it's pretty hard to get up to that. And when you get it, it's potentially a big bonus, but it's 1 to 12, so you could roll a 1, and that's it. You could roll a 12. It's cool. It's a big range. It's a big bonus, but it's not fixed. And it's not normalized by multiple instances. It's just 1 D12 that gets added. The bottom end is always a 1. And the top end just keeps going up, but it never gets up to 20. It only goes up to 12. And the assist can't be done in combat, so you can't use an assist in combat. And outside of combat, it only goes up to a D8. So it's valuable. Can casuals ignore them? I think most of the time people are going to say, hey, can someone help me with this? And it always shows up like, basically, if you pop this up, etiquette. Can anyone assist with etiquette? Maybe. So yeah, I think people will probably use assists a bunch because they're easy. Yeah, and then bonus steps. Like I said, when you equip gear that's like, it gives you 2 bonus steps to stealth or whatever. that just adds straight in. So like, great, I get a D8 to add to my 2D10. Cool. On average, that's 4.5. Sometimes it'll be an 8. Sometimes it'll be a 1. So what I like about it personally is that it's absolutely a bonus. Sometimes it's a minor bonus. Sometimes it's very significant, but it's not like there's a good chance that it's not reliable. And I think when we talk about breaking systems, it's usually when it gets into that range of I can't fail this check. Like it's impossible for me to fail this check. Advantage is very useful. Bonus dice are very useful. Assists are very useful. But at the core of it, the biggest component is going to be your ranks. Hi, Gilly Rose. It's going to be your ranks and that normalized 2d10 roll. The rest of that stuff floating around are highly variable single dice that get added in or subtracted. So I think people are going to, they're going to min-max. They're going to min-max their skill points and their progression, although how that's distributed is fairly controlled, so it's not going to get that silly. So yeah, I think that there's room here to fiddle. There's a lot of potential to fiddle around and screw around with stuff. The characters in the campaign are just about to get to apprentice tier, which means they're going to be able to enchant things and create powers, which is going to be crazy. But yeah, this is kind of the basics of all this stuff. Obviously, there's all the role-playing stuff, but this is just text for the most part. Backgrounds I didn't mention. Backgrounds maybe I think should maybe be on main, but I'm not sure because there's a lot of stuff up here. Backgrounds can be called upon to gain advantage or a reroll. So basically, if you make a check and it's really important, you can say I'm going to use my knight background to give me like, and you kind of role play it. You're like, my character was trained as a knight. He is skilled in horsemanship. He would never fall out of his saddle. This should be second nature to him. Great. Knight grants you advantage. And then you check it off that you used it for the session. Awesome. And then, or if you roll it and you blow it, you can say, ooh, actually, I recall on my training of knighthood to like pull myself back up in the saddle at the last minute. And then you re-roll. You don't re-roll at advantage. You just re-roll at whatever you rolled before. But you can re-roll. And then you mark it off. And you can do that every adventure. And then at the end of the adventure, you come back, you uncheck them, and you're good to go. What else? This is advanced shit. I don't think anybody has any aging points yet. Actually, characters might be getting pretty close. But basically, as you get aging points, let's see. Aging points makes your characters start to gain hindrances. They gain hindrances, they gain traits, and their benefits gain something called fading, where they basically can only be used once a session, which is not normally a restriction. Benefits normally can be used like as many times as you want. But once something is fading, you can only use it once per session, and then after it's fading, then it's gone. And if you live to be very old, let's see here. Can I make him automatic? There you go. Then he can die. That's the death march. So as time goes on, once you hit middle age, I think I can't remember what the age cutoff is. Once you hit that point, you start making aging rolls. I can't remember what that is. I don't think it's good. You want lower. You want lower, not higher. You start making aging rolls, and if you blow them, then you gain aging points. And as you gain Death March, your stuff starts getting screwed up. But you gain traits, so it's not purely negative. You do gain traits. You gain traits which are mostly non-combat. They're mostly like seasonal stuff. So you become better at doing downtime things. Hint, hint. Take it easy. um, Death March also applies to recovery rolls. So when you get wounded, it's harder and longer for you to heal. So that's all. Yeah, here we go. I'm a young adult. Actually, I'm middle age. Ew, we don't like that. And I'm impoverished. That's very bad. Oh, it doesn't look like impoverished is actually adding to the thing. But anyway, that's how that works, aging. Um, Reputations, you can roll against these to find connections. So if you're somewhere and you're like, I gotta find a whatever, great, then you can use your reputation. Um, there are going to be keywords that get associated with these so that if any of them apply, positively or negatively, the GM can say, hey, this gives you a bonus or a penalty step on the check. I think that's mostly it, unless folks have other questions. But like I said, I just kind of want to show people this and talk through it. Uh, I think it's pretty cool. And the idea is that when it's done, what I would like, and by the way, it's not my call, but what I would like is just let people use it for free. Like the whole thing, don't care. Absolutely 0 point in trying to restrict use of this, in my opinion. Um, Whether or not it becomes like a retail purchasable book or anything, no idea. That's expensive, probably a huge waste of money. Maybe actually now with places like RPG Now or Drive Through RPG, that's more viable. But maybe it's just a PDF of rules that comes out with some other stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But it's fun working on it. It's been fun playing with the play group and getting their feedback on this stuff. I'm really glad that the mechanics as implemented now are to the point where we can actually use them and it's not just like vague ideas and numbers floating around. So yeah, $30 on the PDF. Hopefully it's not $30 for a PDF. $30 maybe for a hardcover. That'd be nice. Although it is already 263 pages of just pure text. So granted, that's just a Word doc dumped into a PDF, so who knows what that actually winds up being in real pages. But anyway, that's about it. Won't people want to actually have a physical copy of the book? Some people may, but some people, if you say, well, some people just can't afford it. Like if you say, hey, you can buy the PDF for $5 or $10, and there's also like a wiki that's free. That's just a wiki, which I mean, this is what Paizo does with, at least they used to with Pathfinder. Like you can go on the Pathfinder wiki and just look at everything, or you can get a PDF which is serialized to you and not that expensive, or you can buy a physical book, and the physical book is much more expensive. Some people can't afford that. I would rather that they use a wiki or buy a cheap PDF if they can't get it. And if you're playing digitally, then the PDF is more convenient. Really, Pathfinder 2 is weirdly anti-PDF. That was the thing that was really crazy to me about fourth edition, uh, where they basically, as far as I can remember, they basically never sold PDFs of anything. At the time that Paizo was like, hell yeah, let's sell PDFs of everything. Um, you're just saying, people that have RPG books that they don't even use. I mean, yeah, I've shown this before. My whole shelf is full of RPG books. Will Obsidian publish this? I don't think Obsidian will publish it. If anyone publishes it, we have partnered, like we've partnered with Dark Horse in the past. I think maybe they were who we partnered with for the guidebooks. Um, it's not like we love playing tabletop RPGs. This is the first one that I'm trying to design for public release for real, very slowly, obviously, since 2018 is when I started working on it. Um, but yeah, if it actually gets published, that'll be that'd be a company that actually knows how to do that, not us. I'll write the rules. I'll advise on how to organize and lay things out. Um, but I haven't done page layout and stuff like that for a long time. I wouldn't. I'm not. It's not our thing. We make video games. Let's leave it to the people that do books. But that's about it. All right, folks. I think that's it for tonight. Thanks for dropping by. I get real excited about this stuff. I think it's cool. It's fun to play. Um, as we keep going on this, any chance the current edition of rules can be passed out for playtesting? You know, at some point I have to bite the bullet and just push out a new version, accepting that it's very messy. And I've just been hesitant because when I look at it, I just see like all this garbage. Like right now, I'm looking at the table of contents for this thing, and it's like, actually, I'll just at the end here. Let me see. Hold on. I can hold on just 1 second. Sorry, I am looking at 8. Hold on. What am I doing? That's not what I want. That's not what I want. This is what I want. I'm like clicking on Discord like it's my streaming thing. Okay, sorry. Add source, screen capture, window capture. Okay, just 1 second. So, thanks, Anyside. So I'm just going to show this briefly. So this is kind of where this is. Like, I got to the point where you're sick to death of it, 9SAR. People love 5e. It was really easy to get into. I thought 4th edition was a lot of fun, especially if you like tactical, like. But if you didn't, like, holy shit, you're not going to have fun with it. And so this is where this is. And it's basically what I did is I just said, I got to stop. So because the players were annoyed. The players were like, we can't sort through 21 Word documents that are different chapters for anything. So Matt Hansen graciously took all my docs and just dumped them all into a PDF. And it's okay, but it's okay, but it's highly flawed, especially when you start looking at all the things in here, which are not organized that well. Like a bunch of these bookmarks just need to not be there. But God, what is up with these zoom levels? These are weird. So yeah, we got our skills, we got culture, species, backgrounds, characteristics, benefits and hindrances, skills, traits, powers, and like powers. Look at this. This is fucking ridiculous, dude. What is this? It's like you can't use this. I mean, you can, but this is the stuff that makes me like not want to release it. Equipment, relationships, combat, all this nuts garbage. Get ready. Oh, actually, I'll show you this. So these are like afflictions have been updated. So these are completely different from the alpha rules. Grappling. Get ready for this, baby. People like keep it simple. No, I'm not gonna. I made these rules as simple as I wanted to while still keeping it interesting. Because the thing is, if you want to grapple, I think you want to grapple. You better get into these grapple mechanics, buddy. If your players don't want to grapple, don't throw grappling monsters at them. Um, Wealth, lifestyle, and upkeep, reputations, creating new powers, magic items. See, a lot of this stuff is just stubbed in. Books, enchanting. This gets pretty crazy. Look at all this shit. Aging, headquarters. We're not using the headquarters rules right now, thankfully. It gets a little followers. Seasonal activities. Oh, it's stuck? What is going on with this stuff? What? What is it doing? Yeah, this is really weird. This is because I'm using page stream. Let me try almost maximizing it, but not actually maximizing it. It seems like it doesn't like maximizing. Seasonal activities, bestiary, get ready. There's actually a bestiary. This is real. Like, this does need to be formatted better. There's a bunch of garbage in here. Like, it's real rough. It is time for an update. It's like way past overdue for an update, though, honestly. Like, some of the stuff you guys are talking about from the alpha rules are like, it changed a year ago, maybe more. I had fun with this. This was pretty fun. Hi, Probakis. Defining Magfolk. So, bestiary, I know, it's not bestiary. It's from bestia, which is the Latin word for creature, animal. I think it's just animal. I'm pretty sure. So, Eyeless are Magfolk, and sorry, Eyeless and Rathoon are both Magfolk. They're like angel. I mean, you can call them angels, devils. They're divine creations. They're not like natural creatures. They're just the gods go like they exist. So you can do some neat shit with these guys. Yeah, we got the owl ghouls. We got animats. We got Audra animats. And again, these aren't stubbed out that well. Animal, beast, creature. Thank you. Bear, beetles, otter beetles, giant beetles, ice beetles, stone beetles, wood beetles, blights. Did I write all this alone? Yeah. Um, Darghouls, drakes, young drakes, dragons. Um, well, I was gonna say that some of this is just copied from the game, but also I wrote most of this. So, alpine dragon, bog dragon, and again, like, look, there's no stat blocks for these. These are just stubs and placeholders for a lot of these things. River dragons, sky dragons, tundra dragons. eyeless, vampires, death guards, forge guardians, ghouls, Logofoth, lich, forge knights, ogres, black oozes, phantoms, Rathoon, revenants, skeletal savants, inquisitant saints, void seers, shades, shadows, sirens, skeletons, skulder, specters, giant spiders, all your favorite giant spiders, so many of them, dank spores, sporelings, trolls. This is over years, though. Again, this is like 3 years. So don't. And again, a lot of this is just copied from whatever. But like, yeah. Zorps, Wicts. Then Animancy. So this is one of the new chapters in the sense that it's just like completely new lore. I haven't really done much lore work. This has honestly mostly been rule work. So Animancy, go through the 4 ages of Animancy. The Adra Age, the Blind Age, the Bronze Age. Did I skip an age in there? Did I say the 4 ages of Animancy and then list 3 ages? Oh, the Nascent Age. Yeah, it's not really a. The Nascent Age is basically nothing. It's like prehistory. Um, Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is the current age. Um, Defining the differences between Animancy and powers. Yeah, it's the Neolithic. Animancy and powers, like, why are they different? I was glad I actually got to incorporate. There was a book. There was a book that I gave away. Um, there was a book that I gave out in one of the campaigns called On Mechanistic Supernature by Davy White, a Deerwood Animancer. It was a skill book, so you can read it, but then I made it into a thing that I then reference in this, where he talks about this is the difference between Animancy and a power. Here we go. Now this is stuff. This is stuff that a bunch of people have asked about. So again, this is all in progress. This is very, very sloppy, so I apologize for this. Psychography, um, binding souls, psychography, transferring souls, animantic machines and tools. So these are all the crazy things that you can get. And by the way, there's like the naming here is intentionally very like pseudo Greco, no pun intended. Um, like a lot of it is supposed to be very kind of pseudo like that. That's kind of the nomenclature gets into that because a lot of psychology stuff kind of falls into this. A lot of terminology falls in the same thing. So um, Psychograph is used to perceive and analyze souls through a pane of material. Psychomasca, personal device worn over the eyes to perceive and analyze souls through a pane of material. Deo Machina, used to bind a soul into a vessel or transfer souls between vessels. Psychoprism, a machine that forces the intermingled aspects of a house soul to physically separate so they can't be examined more clearly or operated on more easily. And Dialamina refers to a suite of specialty tools used to perform animatic surgery. Conant, I'm sure you've gone over this before, but what's the basic dice system? It's 2d10, and it's pass-fail for most skills. And with attacks, you have basic hits and then crits above that. I didn't use a graze range because I tried it and it was fucking messy. So yeah, it's 2d10, and then you can add or subtract d4, d6, d8, d12, and a d20 as a advantage or disadvantage. Uh, Talking about animats and constructs, where I contradict myself, I think, in here at some point. Talk about creating an animat. Oh, here you go. Yeah, so this is, I'm sure everybody wants to do this. Start creating your little devil army. So you can do creating an animat. So this just kind of talks about how why they're uh, why they kind of are little robots, but not really robots. Like they don't have motors or anything like that, but they have to be more or less articulated like them. Um, you can get fucking. I let you do all sorts of really weird shit in here. With I'm gonna make my Wicker Man. You can actually make your Wicker Animat, which is not a lot of money, but like not great. Am I revisiting the DM role in terms of game experience or similar to D&D games? I'm not sure what you mean by that, actually. Multipliers for size if you want to make crazy shit. Uh, yeah, and then it gets into the mechanics of actually transferring the souls. And then some of the stuff about the rest of this garbage. Other new lore stuff that I added. Um, I've gone over some of this before, but I added a bunch of stuff about zeal for paladins. Um, talks about um, zeal and how zeal works, flickering and extinguished zeal. So priests with faith have something kind of similar to this. So the idea is that every paladin order and every faith has has a mission or a it's not dogma doctrine. It's a mission and doctrine for zeal and faith respectively, and they're principles that if you violate will cause your zeal or faith to flicker or extinguish, which gives mechanistic penalties to you. But you can recover from it, or you can be a schismatic and make your own order. Um, so like for the Bleak Walkers, um, your mission is to be a living embodiment of bleak war, purposeful violence without concern for morality or ethics. To be loyal to the philosophy of bleak war before any king, tribe, or nation. To be a wolf of war once loose, neither requesting nor giving quarter under any circumstances, even when commanded to do so. To terrify by appearance, word, and deed, and in so doing to make the Bleak Walkers synonymous with bleak war. To give your life to the cause of bleak war, and in death to become a black saint. To remember the acts of the black saints and invoke them in battle. Through all of the above, to stop battles before they begin, to bring an end to wars before they claim more lives. That's the mission of the Bleak Walkers. So you roleplay according to that, and if you roleplay contra to that, the group can make a decision and say, you blew it, and then you're on probation. And it's supposed to be the group, not just the GM. Um, Petronkus, you ran a D&D 5e campaign based on the first White March DLC. Great, that's awesome. Sounds awesome. Haven't done the Darkotsi Paladini yet, or the Brotherhood of the Five Sons, the Gold Pack Knights. Again, to professionally render protective and offensive military services as directed by paying clients, to set the terms of service as you see fit, including increased fees and considerations for particularly hazardous or illegal activities, to never knowingly act against a fellow Gold Pack Knight, to always include a contractual escape clause that releases your obligation if you are directed against a fellow Gold Pack Knight, to conduct yourself calmly and without malice in the execution of your duties, to satisfy all clients who fulfill their contracts and do not show disrespect or abuse toward us. Um, so yeah, to get a little more mechanistic about some of these things. So the kind wayfarers, again, to show something that's a little less mercenary and crazy. Um, so their mission to protect all travelers who need protection where and when they most need it, to accept only what a traveler can reasonably afford in payment, providing protection freely to those who have nothing, to always favor those who are most in need and never take the side of an oppressor, when not employed to travel roads, paths, passes, highways, and byways, and safeguard them against those who would prey on the innocent. So, for example, in post Deadfire, um, in post Deadfire Deerwood, there is a pilgrim trail. God, what the fuck is it called? It's basically where Aethys walked to the sea. There's a pilgrim trail where people start at Cadnua. Well, what's left of it. They start at Cadnua and they walk to the sea, and that's a pilgrim trail. And kind wayfarers protect it because that's what they do. To chart your travels in maps, pictures, and words, and to share that knowledge with others, to be merciful, forthright, and honest in all endeavors, to live a simple, healthy lifestyle free of ostentation and consumption, to give excess wealth to the needy, to give your life to protect others. Paladin-y. Now, so there's some special stuff for paladins called litanies. And what litanies are is, like, conceptually and really, it's a short phrase that is the name of the power which you must say when using the power audibly. And the litany has to embody the ideals of the mission. This is vague, but it doesn't really matter because it just provides one benefit. It provides a benefit with a hindrance. The benefit is that it makes the power cheaper by being a litany, but you have to say the litany aloud when you use the power. You can't just like, whoop. So, for example, the shield bearers of St. Elja, where is his damn, oh, it's not in here. So the shield bearers of St. Elja, actually, hold on, folks. We have it right here. Eldrin has the power. May I protect you as my forebears did St. Elja. So it gives +3 soak and 2d6 health to one allied target. And it's cheaper than normal because you have to actually say aloud, may I protect you as my forebears did St. Elja. That embodies the mission of the shield bearers of St. Elja. Great, awesome. Now, for a counterexample of psychos, the Steel Garrote sealed litany is think upon your promises and die, which does a huge amount of damage. Yeah, it's fucking psycho. It's a psycho thing you say to somebody and then you kill them. And it's used by the Steel Garrote before they execute people. And that's kind of the vibe of it. And it has a story here about the first guy who used it. So this whole thing is a big mess. I do have to release it sometime rather than just sitting on it forever. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just ask Matt to clean up the bookmarks because the bookmarks are really painful. Like it's very, I mean, well, you can barely read them, but like, Kona, it kind of reminds me of a thing in 13th Age where wizards can buff their spells a touch by coming up with alliterative, rhyming polysyllabic names for their spells instead of just calling them by their functional name. Yes, exactly. So there are things that I'm trying to incorporate in each power source to get people to be creative with this stuff. Chanters, paladins, priests, wizards, all that stuff. But it's all in the works. It's a big mess. But yeah, I gotta release an update to this. I gotta. It's really painful to navigate through, and it's lots of just stuff that is stubbed or just runs off into nowhere. Anyway, I should probably call it a night. I've been talking for 2 hours at least. But yeah, thanks everybody for dropping by. Hopefully this gets you excited to take a look at this stuff when this stuff is released, and also when the Foundry is a very cool virtual tabletop to work in, to develop in. There's a lot of systems supported for it. I played D&D in it, 5th edition. I played Cyberpunk and Savage Worlds, and now I'm playing Cyberpunk in Red. So we just switched the system. Um, and yeah, so cool. Anyway, I should probably get going. Thanks everybody for dropping by, and I will talk to you later.